Hello students, in the last video we have discussed about nucleosides and nucleotides. DNA is a macromolecule and it is a polymer which is made up of many monomeric units called deoxyribonucleotides. Many deoxyribonucleotides are joined together by a phosphodiester bond. In this video, let us discuss about structure of the DNA or DNA double helix model. See, this is the structure of DNA. This is the structure of DNA. In 1953, James D. Watson and Francis H. C. Crick proposed the structure of DNA by the help of the result obtained from X-ray diffraction and crystallographic method. In 1953, James D. Watson and Francis H. C. Crick proposed a model that is called DNA double helix model, which explains about the structure of DNA. Francis H. C. Crick and James D. Watson proposed this DNA double helix model by the help of the result obtained from X-ray crystallography and X-ray diffraction studies. Some of the characteristic features of DNA double helix model are, or the salient features of DNA double helix model are: DNA molecule is composed of two polynucleotide strands. DNA is composed of two polynucleotide strands. Say, this is one polynucleotide strand and this one is the another polynucleotide strand. That means single DNA contains two polynucleotide strands and these two polynucleotide strands are running anti-parallel to each other. Two strands of the DNA are anti-parallel to each other. They are not parallel, they are anti-parallel. That means the direction of one polynucleotide strand is 3' to 5', whereas the direction of another DNA polynucleotide strand is 5' to 3'. Direction of one strand is 3' to 5' and another one is 5' to 3'. That means two polynucleotide strands of DNA are anti-parallel to each other. In the polynucleotide strands, sugar and phosphate forms the backbone. The polynucleotide strand of the DNA is made up of sugar and phosphate backbone, or two polynucleotide strands of DNA is made up of backbone. It is made up of backbone of sugar and phosphate. Here you can observe the presence of sugar. S indicates sugar and P indicates phosphate. And this sugar and phosphate forms the backbone of the polynucleotide strand. And this sugar and phosphate forms the long axis of the polynucleotide strand, and the nitrogenous bases are at right angles to sugar phosphate backbone. So the sugar and phosphate forms the backbone of the polynucleotide strand, whereas the nitrogenous base are present at right angles to sugar phosphate backbone. Each polynucleotide strand is made up of many nucleotides which are linked by phosphodiester bond. Each polynucleotide strand. See, this is the one polynucleotide strand which is made up of many nucleotides, and these nucleotides are joined together by phosphodiester bond. The two polynucleotide strands of DNA are coiled right-handedly in order to form double helix. See here, you can observe the right-handed coiling of the two polynucleotide strands of DNA. Two polynucleotide strands of DNA are right-handedly coiled in order to form a double helix, and such form of DNA are called as bDNA. bDNA means it's a type of DNA where two polynucleotide strands are right-handedly coiled, are called bDNA. Two polynucleotide strands of the DNA are held together by hydrogen bonds present between the purines and pyrimidine bases of opposite strands. Say these two are opposite strands. Here you can observe the presence of nitrogenous bases, pyrimidines and purines. Cytosine and thymine are the pyrimidines, adenine and guanine are the purines. In between this pyrimidines and purines, we can see the presence of hydrogen bonds. These are the hydrogen bonds. By the help of these hydrogen bonds, the two polynucleotide strands of DNA are held together. And there is a complementary base pairing between two polynucleotide strands of DNA. And this base pairing is specific. Means always purine forms base pairing with the pyrimidine. Particularly, adenine always pairs with thymine, or thymine pairs with adenine with the two hydrogen bonds. Here you can find the presence of two hydrogen bonds in between adenine and thymine, or thymine and adenine. Whereas cytosine always pairs with guanine, or guanine always pairs with cytosine with the three hydrogen bonds. With three hydrogen bonds, cytosine pairs with guanine. In DNA, the amount of purine and pyrimidines are always equal. The amount of adenine and guanine is equal to the amount of thymine and cytosine. That means the amount of purine is always equal to the amount of pyrimidine. According to Chargaff's rule of base equivalence, adenine is equal to thymine and cytosine is equal to guanine. Means amount of adenine is equal to amount of thymine, amount of cytosine is equal to amount of guanine. So the ratio of adenine plus thymine and cytosine plus guanine is always constant. The ratio of adenine and thymine with the cytosine and guanine is always constant. The double-stranded DNA molecule has a diameter of 20 angstrom. That means the distance between two polynucleotide strands. Here, the distance between two polynucleotide strands is always 20 angstrom. One full turn of DNA measures about 34 angstrom with 10 base pairs. One full turn of DNA measures about 34 angstrom, and in one full turn 10 nitrogenous bases are present, or 10 base pairs are present. That means the distance between two consecutive base pairs is 3.4 angstrom. See, this is the one full turn of the DNA which measures about 34 angstrom. And in one full turn, you can observe the presence of 10 base pairs. That means the distance between two consecutive base pairs is 34 angstrom divided by 10 means 3.4 angstrom. The distance between two consecutive base pairs is 3.4 angstrom. In case of DNA, two grooves are present, that is major groove and minor groove. There are two grooves in DNA such as major groove and another one is minor groove. This is about the DNA double helix model or about structure of DNA. Next one is central dogma of molecular biology or central dogma. Francis Crick proposed the central dogma of molecular biology. Francis Crick proposed the central dogma of molecular biology, which states that the genetic information always flows from DNA to mRNA and from mRNA to protein unidirectionally. Central dogma of molecular biology states that always the genetic information transfers from DNA to mRNA and then from mRNA to protein unidirectionally. There is a unidirectional flow of genetic information from DNA to mRNA and then from mRNA to protein. Say DNA produces the copies by replication process. DNA produces the copies by replication. Then DNA produces mRNA by the process called transcription. Then mRNA produces protein by the process called translation. mRNA is a type of RNA. Here, the genetic information present in the DNA transfers into mRNA by transcription process. Then, the genetic information present in the mRNA flows into protein by translation process. Means here we can observe the flow of genetic information in one direction. Hence it is called as central dogma of molecular biology. But in some viruses, the flow of genetic information takes place bidirectionally. In some viruses, the flow of genetic information takes place bidirectionally. That means transfer of genetic information from mRNA to DNA. Reverse. That is called reverse transcription. Reverse transcription is nothing but flow of genetic information from mRNA to DNA. Thank you.